Hey, what's relationship coach Court? In today's video, I want to talk to you about why the DA male will keep you stuck on them for a very long time. All right. And before I get into that, if you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website at www.fruitfulseeds.com. If you're not part of the membership program, I would encourage you to join the membership program. It's $25 a month, and you get a one-on-one coaching session with me every month. Also, if you haven't picked up my book, Fruitful Seeds, $5 on Amazon. I'll put that in the description below. It's good to see everybody. Happy Tuesday. Woo, the numbers are going up today. This must be a really good topic. It's good to see everybody. It is great to be here. I'll put my website on here for you guys. And today I'm going to give you a few reasons why the DA male will keep you stuck. And it's very simple. It's a study that I found a long time ago. Because I work with women all the time. They're constantly sending me messages on Instagram, sending me emails, reaching out to me for coaching sessions. And they're just wondering, they're like, why can't I get over this man? What is it about him? And I say, I read a study a long time ago that says that women are more attractive to men whose feelings are unclear. It keeps them stuck. It keeps them wanting to chase after that person because in some way, shape, or form, that person looks like the bad boy. It looks like the guy that is very indifferent with being with you or with being without you. And it's an interesting concept, right? It's an interesting concept. I know I don't like to use the heavy blanket statements, women are more attractive. As a general rule, a lot of women are attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. This is why when you have those people that are coming in your inbox and sending you messages or flirting with you, and you really are kind of like, all right, this is a little aggressive behavior. And they're a little too easy. But for the guys that don't pursue you, that is just hanging back, letting you do all the initiating. And a lot of this has to do with childhood wounds too, and that subconscious issue that you have with abandonment issues as a kid or whatever it may be, or your previous relationships. They are going to keep you stuck on them because they're not showing, you never quite win them, and even if you do win them, it's a very small and short-lived victory. You guys know, if you've ever been with an avoidant guy, you guys know. Hello, Glenn. I'm pretty good, Glenn. Commonly. Our DA's commonly. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, so I won't. Addicts, they're okay with having non-committal, non-emotional based relationships with other people. Casual encounters. They're okay with that. I don't know if they're addicts per se, but they are the style that is more likely to have casual hookups. Corey, how you doing? Then we get fed up and are out. Are you out though? Angela, let me ask you a question. Are you really out? If this avoidant man reaches out to you like right now during this live session, can you avoid messaging him back and just exiting me? Like, bye, Court. Looks like he's reached out and says, hey, I want to see you. So are we kidding ourselves a little bit here, Angela? Oh, you're out. All right. So it's good to see you guys. I appreciate the constant support. The YouTube channel is growing like crazy. The community is growing like crazy. Like I said, if you want the membership program, it is super cheap compared to booking a one-on-one session with me. And you also get that one-on-one session every single month. So we can just do some little, check-ins, some engagements, and just seeing where you guys are at. If you want to show your support, I got the super chats on also. Did I just super chat myself? That is pretty funny. How did I do that? No, I didn't. That would be funny. All right, I got a poll here. If you are a woman and coming in here, there's a poll for you. Is male avoidant behavior different from female avoidant behaviors? I would have to say no, because a lot of female avoidance, a lot of their behaviors are based on how they feel. It's based on where they're at in that moment in time. Men more think things through more logically. If they were thinking about breaking up with somebody, they really mull it over for a really long time. They'll come up with basically a laundry list of things that the person is doing wrong. I can remember when I was working with a client. She said that it came out of nowhere. You know, he was courting her. He was doing everything the right way. Was showing high interest in her, and then broke up with her. And then he actually gave her the due diligence of explaining to her why he didn't see the relationship working. And what he said was, well, you don't like scary movies. You don't like certain restaurants. You don't like a bunch of other different things. And she's like, what? Why didn't you? These are all things that you said you were pretending like was fine throughout the early courtship stages, but later on, now these were all issues all along. Now I'm so confused about that. So he's basically coming up with all these reasons as to why the relationship wouldn't go to distance, and obviously he didn't communicate that. But if you guys are just coming in here, today's topic is about how the DA male will keep you stuck. And my main reasoning for saying that they will keep you stuck is because majority of the time, the dismissive avoidant male looks like an alpha male in the beginning of the relationship, and actually throughout the relationship. He looks like, not alpha male, sorry, I'll take that back. The bad boy, the guy that you don't know where he stands. You don't know where he's at day to day. He's not texting you first. He's not reaching out. He may have pursued you in the beginning, and all of a sudden he's pulling back. He did just enough to get you to the point where, hey, I'm smitten over this guy. And then he's like, take it or leave it. You know, this is who I am. So they're like, and I often say that they look like, if you want to talk about alpha males and beta males in a relationship, a lot of beta males are just like go with the flow. They don't really do too much. They look like they can care less. You know what? Take that back. Scratch that. Nope. We're not going with it. We're not going to go with that analogy. All right, let's stick with this. They look like beta. They look like the bad boy, the guys that can care less. And I talked about this early in the live, saying that I came across a study that said women are more attractive to men whose feelings are unclear. And when you get into a relationship with them, you're constantly seeking their approval, seeking their thoughts on where the relationship stands. If this is the right relationship for them, if they still love you. How many times, raise your hands, put a 1 in the chat if you had to constantly ask your avoidant person if they loved you or if they cared for you. That's usually how they get to it. And most of the time they're oblivious to it. You know, they kind of like get in this comfort zone, this coast zone, like, all right, relationship. They have this view that relationship should be easy and effortless. Like, this is nothing, no big deal. Like this, you're one of the boys now. Like you're one of the guys. So we don't have to do all of that romantic stuff that that they say you should be doing in Hollywood. And it's the exact opposite for the anxious attacher, because women in here, if you had an anxious attacher male and you're an anxious, the instant that he become more anxious than you are, you're going to lose attraction for him. He's going to look clingy. He's going to look like he's desperate, like he needs your constant mommy approval and validation. and you'll lose attraction for him. And most of the time, women will leave an anxious male for an avoidant male. I see it all the time. All the time. My DA and Sharice. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you, Sharice. That is so true. My DA comes back again and again for 2 years. So I hope that means that he loves me. I mean, it could mean that he loves you, or is he dating anybody else in between? Is the real question. Do you know that answer? Is he gone and he's planning to feel and coming back? And you know the saying, people are only going to do to you what you allow for them to do. So if it's an open door policy and he knows it's an open door policy, it's like, she'll be there. I'm not worried. I'm assuming he loves me too. Y'all are having a nice little chat in this chat here. I can't do it, nor do I have any. What does DA mean? Sorry about that. DA, I should have been more specific. A DA means a dismissive avoidant. And what a dismissive avoidant is, a person who grew up in the conditions where they weren't nurtured to have a healthy attachment to people, meaning either madre or padre or anybody else that raised them. They didn't have a healthy, nurturing environment. And this is the general rule. And it may be anomalies out there. But they weren't able to attach to a caregiver early on in between the ages 0 to 7. So that early relationship that you have with your mom and your dad, that's going to determine how you attach to people in the future. Your romantic relationships, anything that feels like that close, intimate relationship that you have with your parents. And the avoidant person was basically brought up to be independent. Usually from my environment where I grew up, most of the avoidant men were the people who had to grow up before they'd even wanted to. They may have had a dad that left the house or went to prison or got taken out. And they had to be the man of the house, where they were basically getting a job early, helping taking care of their little brothers and sisters. And they never really processed their feelings and their emotions. So when they got into relationships with women, women complained a lot about them not having good communication skills and not being able to deal with conflict and stress in their relationship. It's because they was conditioned to have to do everything on their own. And for them, they'll just rather cut the fat. Relationships for them, it's like, it's whenever the going gets tough, they'll just cut it off. Like, I don't need this. This isn't something that is an absolute necessity in my life. So they cut it off. Hope that helped. What if X moves on? Should we wait for them to come back or us? Your best bet, if your ex left and moved on, and if moved on mean they met somebody else, your best bet is to meet somebody else. It's to go on and you start dating yourself. And the reason I say that is because they can keep you in that relationship limbo for a really long time. And it's really hard to gauge whether they're going to come back or not, whether they're in or they're out. Fearful avoidance. We're not talking about fearful avoidance tonight, but we'll be talking about them soon. As soon as I start getting to know a new guy, the XDA pops back up every time. It's interesting how that works, right? The minute that you remove your energy off of them and your vibrations leave them, they sense it. They pick up on it. They're like, wait a minute. Whatever happened to so-and-so? Let me see how she's doing. How about the DA females? What about them? Why they keep you stuck? We're here talking about males tonight. I got to keep the content scattered. I can't give away the whole cake at one birthday party. But we will do that. I guess I can give you a little. I can throw you a crumb. The reason why DA females will keep men stuck is because men, we like challenges. We like to achieve things. We like goals. We like to obtain goals. We're conquerors. and we like to fix things. And if we went into a relationship with somebody that's an avoidant and we couldn't fix it, it keeps us stuck. Like, what could we have done? What could I have done better? What do I need to learn? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? Especially if you're an anxious attachment male. What do I need to learn? What do I need to change about myself in order to get this person back? Because we can't accept defeat. Like, our ego just can't handle it. Especially if they moved on to somebody else, then it's like, wow, they got taken from me. So, hypermemory means a dismissive avoidant. Oh, okay. Glenn chiming in. You need to become a moderator, Glenn. You always here. DA have fear of intimacy, so damaging in childhood that the DA uses. Can't say it on YouTube. To numb the pain. A person who has always denied their needs or emotions. Yeah. Yep, it's true. Roller coaster is so right. So why do they keep us stuck? Are they secretly looking for better? You know, I came across that term not too long ago from another coach, and it was called FOBO. You know, kind of like a play on FOMO. It's the fear of a better offer. You know, they're constantly looking for, and you see this a lot with women. If I'm being honest, if I'm just going to be straight up, you see this a lot with the dismissive and the fearful avoidant women. It's a thing called FOBO, which is fear of a better offer, and they're always looking for that. They're always looking for the better option because they don't want to make the wrong choice. And for the men, it's the same thing. The DA men will continue to, like, you know, maybe date around, but when it comes down to having an actual relationship, they're always waiting for that better option to come into the picture, because it feels a lot safer than completely being enamored and being completely vulnerable with somebody else. And this is all a spectrum too. This is all a spectrum. Like, it's not just like cut or dry. Like, it's not like black and white. You know, you could be 30% dismissive, 30% secure, 20% fearful, and 10% AA. Like, if you want to take the test, you can take the test and see. There's multiple websites where you can take it at, but it's not just like it is or it isn't. You know, because we have it all inside of us. We have all four. Angela, you better not be on here messing up my chat. I understand your pain, but don't be in here messing up my chat now. Trying to get me in trouble with the YouTubes. Glenn says, I couldn't live on breadcrumbs, Kathy. Absolutely. It is I guess it all comes down to knowing your worth and really doing the work on yourself, really healing yourself and not being attracted to the people who only give you breadcrumbs. Like, that's your best bet. Do DAs appear avoidant but secretly want closeness or yes, they do. They do want closeness. They're just scared of it. They're fearful of it because they're fearful of getting hurt. Because once they get hurt, like, that wound hurts. It feels like everything that's ever happened to them in the past is happening all over again. And this is just based on people that I've worked with, people that reached out to me and told me what it feels like to go through breakups. Even if they were the one to do the breaking up, it still feels painful to them to go through that. You will see a lot of avoidant people that are divorced that become way more avoidant. You'll see it a lot with men. They'll just like swear off relationships and say, you know, I'm not really trying to get into anything too deep. You know? And then they'll just work a lot. And you know what? You know, one thing about them though, they'll work so hard that they'll build like these multi-million-dollar companies, and they'll work their fingers to the bone, and they kind of transmute that relationship energy into their purpose or their mission in life. I don't think they're ever happy. I saw a couple studies. Now, this isn't me speaking. This is just something that I came across that said that they do struggle with like chronic depression. They struggle with chronic anxiety. Um, I joked on one of the other live sessions talking about, they kind of remind you of, you ever see the cartoon Up? The old man on Up, where he's just like, I don't want anybody around me. I don't want to move. I don't want to change. I don't want to do anything. And it has it takes that one little boy to come along to kind of help him change his whole outlook on life. But it's kind of like that. Like they're pretty rigid. This is what I know. This is what I like. This is the food I like. This is the area I like to live in. This is the way I like my dishes. This is the way I like my pictures. They're like that, which is why whenever I talk to people, I say one of the ways that an avoidant would tell you that they actually like are being vulnerable with you is they'll allow you in their space and they'll allow you to do things to kind of help alter their lives a little bit. But when they pull back and they stop allowing for you to do things, thanks for the coffee, Glenn. Once again, they start allowing for you to do things for them. That's when you know that they're starting to soften themselves to you and they're starting to gain a little bit more trust in you. Nobody wants to be hurt. That's true. No one. And it sucks. I'm with you, Lisa. I'm here with you. No one likes to be hurt. True. Do you think DAs struggle with depression because they are ignorant of the fact that they are a DA? What's the best way to let? It's just that they haven't healed. They haven't healed what needs to be healed. This is when you repress your emotions so much, it shows up in your body. It shows up in chronic illnesses, chronic pains, headaches, any of those type of things that is like physical symptoms of somebody going through emotional distress. That's what emotions are. Emotions are energy in motion. And when you don't let those emotions out and you repress it, you don't work out, you don't get out and have like a good eating habits and regimens, it's going to get stuck in you. And it's going to show up in areas like depression, No, they wouldn't admit to have been depressed. No, not in a million years. Even though you being the closest person in their life and you observing it and seeing it for what it is, they still won't admit it. They still won't say, no, I'm not depressed. I'm good. I've always been this way. It's just how I was raised. It's just who I am. How is my DAX able to maintain a long-term relationship with the ex he went back to? Yeah, he gets triggered by saying hi to me in the supermarket. He's still trying to repress, most likely. Still trying to repress the fact that he had or still has feelings for you. I've worked with people who was with a dismissive, and that person had been divorced for about 5 years, 6 years. And this was like the first real relationship that he had gotten back into after his divorce. And the man still showed up the same way that he was in his marriage. Like he had done no healing. He hadn't even attempted to change himself or to, adapt to a more secure attachment style. And he just continued to repress over and over again. And the reason that he broke up with that person was because he finally realized that he wasn't over his ex-wife. And by that time they had been together 3 years, and she's like, wow, that was 8 years ago. And he still hadn't, he finally decided to do counseling or therapy, or he says he was. But at that point, he had them repress those feelings and emotions so much and so long that it ended up ruining that next relationship. Archon, my girlfriend knows she is a DA and still has a depressive episodes. So no. Yeah. Yeah, he gets all that now. He is with her, stomach pain, stress, etc. Yeah, it's no good. It's really bad energy. Really bad energy. We get that too as anxious attachers. Whenever we're going through our protesting, whenever we go through our anxious side, that's what we show. It shows up in us. It's like anxiety. Like we'll have our muscles might tense up. We'll get hyperventilate, have some stomach pains. You get this knot right in the bottom of your stomach, every time you wake up in the morning. That's what it shows up for us, for people who are anxious. Not being able to eat, not being able to think clearly, um, depression. And it's so crazy that those symptoms and feelings can be so easily overcame just by a few words from the person that we want to talk to, from the person that we want to be with. Isn't that crazy how the mind is so powerful that you can physically have pain just by words from another person or lack thereof? It's nuts. You can't change people. Glenn knows. I already talk about this all the time. You can't change people, and people typically don't change. They become better versions of themselves, which means they learn how to manage or even manipulate a little bit better, but they typically don't change, unless one day they just wake up and they have like this epiphany or some life altering experience or some near death experience, and they're like, wow, I don't ever want to treat people. I want to learn how to be more empathetic and more to help. I want to learn how to sit in somebody else's experience a little bit better. And people typically don't want to do that, especially if you've been skating through life operating a certain way and it's worked for you, and you had a mindset of like, I'm not the problem, it's all these other people around me is the issue. Then it's a tall order to be expecting that out of somebody. You're an empath too, huh? I love your energy, soothing. I am an empath. I love hard, and I think the term is like super empath. It's not a great term if you ask me. I was doing some research on it. I really did. I feel people's emotions. At every session that I have, like it's real. They're real powerful sessions. I could never get my needs met. Was always asking. He tried, but he couldn't do it. The fact that he tried, though, you have to give him kudos for that. My headphones keep going in and out. Sorry. You have to give him kudos for trying. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, that's really all you can ask for them. The fact that they're trying to meet your needs and trying to show up in your experience is huge. But at some point, they get to the point where they realize that this is just way more effort than they want to give. And they feel like, well, this person just probably isn't the one for me. Guess it's not meant to be. So they'll move on. But as long as you know at the end of the day that you put your best foot forward, which means you had your anxiety in check, you really tried to show up for them and meet their needs, and most likely diminish your needs, then you should be okay with the outcome. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a sad realization that you have to come to, but it's a necessary one. And at the end of the day, for all you women in here, and you're dealing with an avoidant male, you're probably like, I don't want to have to be somebody else's mom, And this is no disrespect to the avoidant, okay? No disrespect to y'all. But that's the end conclusion that women come to, is like, I don't want to have to teach you how to communicate, how to meet my needs, how to communicate your boundaries, because that's an issue. Is they'll slowly start to retract from you and deactivate from you because you've done something that crossed their boundaries, and you don't want to have to help them communicate that. It's like, well, you're at a certain age, you probably should. Everybody in this room is probably 25, and I go to the analytics, 25 and older. So I know you guys get it. At that age, it's like, I don't want to have to do that for you. I don't want to have to be that person for you. Because if you're a woman, you want to live in your feminine essence. You want to be able to just have a man that's going to put you in your natural state of just being and allowing. You don't want to constantly have to be chasing after him and wondering what's going on with him, and begging him for crumbs of affection and attention. And you don't want to have to play second fiddle to whatever. 26 YouTube is scary. Yeah, hey, analytics. You don't want to have to train a man. Not saying it in that way like he's some type of puppy or dog or anything, but teach him how to treat a woman. That's a better word. Kathy and her making friends. Kathy and Sharice, look at you guys making friends. It's good to see. I had to let it go. I'm feeling 1,000 times better taking one day at a time. And this is the one thing, this is the reason why I decided to do these live sessions more frequently. It's great to have somebody to talk to. It's great, especially when, you don't have a whole lot of money. You can't just jump on a call with a coach. I understand. So this is part of the reason why I decided to do more of these live sessions. And I think this is a great time of the day because lots of people are jumping on. It's really helpful to be able to have those daily reminders as to why the journey that you're going on and why you're most likely trying to stay in no contact and become more centered yourself. Much older, Lanice. Everybody, oh dear me, yes. He's got a mom. I don't want to be the therapist either. I want to be his lover. Yeah, you don't want to be his mom or his therapist or his counselor or his life coach or his antidepressant dispenser or his personal chef. Like you want to be an equal with him, So I get it. Kathy spreading love and light. Absolutely. I felt like walking on eggshells too when piecing up my relationship with the DA female, but that has just been a stage now. Nearing 2 years relationship feels healthy. So you're in a relationship with somebody that's a secure attacher, or are you still with that DA female or a con? Definitely walking on eggshells. It's hard. I know he's a good guy. He said I made him feel pressure to hang out with him. And the crazy thing about that is most of the time they have expectations in their own mind that they've never communicated to you. They'll be thinking something, maybe something that they've seen on TV, maybe something that was expected of them from previous relationships. And they will hold that resentment towards you, but never, ever communicated with you. And by the time they bring it up, you're like, I never even said that. I never even wanted that. Like, I'm confused. So they have this image of what a relationship should be in their mind, but they never communicated. And then they come back and punish you for it or deactivate from you for it because they felt like this is what you wanted. I was working with the client once, and she said she went out to dinner with him. They had already had their issues, but at this time the relationship was going pretty healthy, and I think something happened where he didn't show up for one of the dates, and they had to reschedule for like a Friday or a Saturday. It was like midweek. Thanks for the super chat, Vince. Thank you, brother. He had to show up. He had to push the date off, and they ended up doing that. And once they got to the date, she had to address the elephant in the room because she was an anxious person, and she was really holding back her horses. She didn't want to text him about it. She didn't want to call him about it. But when she got to the date, interesting. She said, "You know what? I don't think this is going to work." And what he said was, "Yep, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was you're going to. This is like the breakup conversation we're going to have." And he basically said, "This always happens. Like I let people know my availability in my life, the capacity that I have to give in my life, and they always want more. So it's like they have that in their head about what they know a person wants. It's just that they either unwilling to do it, or they're just so caught up in their world, their day-to-day activities, that they just aren't able to show up." What do you think about anxious female partners are so attracted to avoiding male partners? That's just how it goes. I talked about that going all the way back. Early on in this live session, women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. This is why, the nice guys always get left for the bad boys. The nice guys are the ones that's buying flowers, setting dates, rubbing feet, all that good stuff. And then the bad boy comes along that's doing none of that, may have just dropped her a message in her inbox and hasn't reached out to her again for the next couple of weeks. And they're like, okay, well, this guy seems a little bit mysterious. I wonder what he's got going on. So anxious females would often leave for that avoidant male. Like if they're in a relationship with somebody that's an anxious attacher. As somebody asked me, they said, what happens when two anxious attachers get into a relationship? And I said, from what I've seen, most likely the anxious female will leave the anxious male because he is giving off too much feminine energy, that she's going to be more attracted to somebody that has more masculine energy. And that's like a cycle that goes over and over and over again. He has unexpressed expectations. I wrote a quote about that. What was it? Unexpressed expectations are premeditated resentments. Unexpressed expectations are premeditated resentments. And that's just how it goes. Not interested in DA males, but your channel deserves to be bigger. Vince, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. One day at a time, Vince. That's all I can do. It's God's plan. My DA left me and is talking to his ex again from 5 years ago. That ex told him he was boring, broke, and with him. It's strange because she is not very attractive, nor is she kind. How old are they? Is the question. Because I have a theory about that. How old are they? I'm guessing he's doing better now. He's got himself into his purpose. Maybe he may be getting a little bit more shape, got a little bit more money, has a career now. Because there's a theory behind that, but I'm not going to say it on this channel because YouTube really, really punishes people for talking in this language. So I'm not going to do it. But it would be right on par for, sorry, my kids. Right on par. Hey, hang with me for a second, all right? Sorry about that. Kids. Who's got kids in there? Put a 1 in the chat if you have kids. What flavor, what ages? I have 3 daughters, 19, 13, and 6. And they're romping about in the other room, so I apologize. But this is just showing that I'm human. I'm human. I'm here and I live the same experience times 5. Kathy, you have 5. Well, God bless your heart, Kathy. I couldn't even imagine having 5 kids, especially being a single dad. That'll be a little bit difficult. So my I think it's because she rejected him. All right, let's go back up to the chat here. Sorry. My guy idolizes his relationship with his ex-wife. He was miserable with her. She's older than him. Yeah, and that's that Phantom X phenomenon that you guys hear coaches talking about all the time. They tend to struggle with Phantom X. They're always thinking about the next person. They're always comparing the next person to their previous person. And it's a problem, to be honest, because they never sit present in your relationship. They never are completely with you. They're thinking about what it is that, one more time. I said I got 3 girls, right? It's almost like I got boys in the background. But the chat's still going, which is good. All right, my guy idolizes his relationship with his. Yeah, the Phantom X phenomenon. That's something that you hear all the time in the realm of the coaching world. Pray for me. It's been a blur. I bet you can't wait till school starts back. Where are you at, Kathy? Mine always idolizes his ex too. Yeah, it's so interesting, right? It's so interesting. So you feel like you're constantly living in that person's shadow, and you constantly have to do more. You constantly have to one up that person from the past, and you really don't. You really don't. If they don't accept you for who you are, but if you're anxious, like you're constantly trying to please somebody, and you're constantly trying to get that validation. So, is that really your personality? I don't even think that having an anxious attachment style is really your true self. And that's what I'm trying to help people work on, is becoming their true self, being able to tap into their interests and their likes, and be able to set the boundaries that they want to set and communicate the needs that they want, and being able to let go of relationships that don't serve them any purpose anymore. Like that's my true essence. At the end of my life, when I look back and I think about what it is that I did to contribute to the universe or the world, put a dent in the universe, like one of my guys say. I want to know that I was able to help people become their best self and be able to sit in their authentic experience and allow for a person to come into their life that's going to appreciate them for that. And they don't have to completely change who they are and have to completely dilute themselves for another person. And that's true self-confidence. That's true self-worth. That's true secureness right there. Really. Maine, air bubble, 4, 30, 28, 22, and 9. You have a basketball team. I'm sure you probably went to a lot of sports camps over your life. Does exes are happy in the rebound with us, with our are exes happy in their rebound without us, or are they hurting too? Here's what people struggle to understand. And I know the reason that you want to know these questions, because you want to make sure that you matter to that person. You want to make sure that the relationship that you had actually meant something. And it did, but everybody handles breakups differently. Some people go and hop into the relationship so they don't have to feel those feelings for you. So they don't have to process those emotions. And others take the time, try their hardest to fight for that person back until they've gotten rejected enough and they've completely just made themselves look so silly that they don't have a choice but to move on. But of course they do. If you had a relationship that was longer than 6 months to a year, of course they missed you, and um, they built a bond and connection with you. That's if the relationship was a good relationship. If it was toxic, then that's a whole nother thing. But if it was a healthy relationship and you guys grew together and you had a strong bond, of course they did. Now, are those feelings strong enough to make them want to come back to you is a whole nother question. It doesn't help that his ex is his baby mama and that she has to be in his life. Yeah, so that's always another issue. Having other kids, having blended families, having to worry about that person possibly wanting to get back with that person. And if they're entertaining it, that's a no-go. It's no bueno. I'm a DA male. I just broke up with my girl and now I'm regretting it. What are you doing? Go get her back. Problem solved. You're a DA male? Welcome to the club. Welcome to the chat here, brother. Appreciate you being here. Let's go out and communicate. Let's go out and make ourselves vulnerable. Because you can still turn this around if she's not a dismissive herself. We just have healthier ways of dealing with the break. Doesn't stop us loving or wanting them. Yeah, we process it early. We process it within the first 2 months. They hold off. They don't even want to think about it for the first couple months. I wonder if the DA's best match is a master manipulator. Honestly, I've seen a lot of DAs get into relationship with narcissistic people, and they stay with them, and they're able to, although they'll be off and on again. My ex, we talk constantly, best friends, but always feel like it's more. Haven't seen him for 2 years, plan to finally reunite. Now it's that time. Excuses, they are on the up. Seems like I'm not needed. Badger, appreciate your comment. We APs are usually good manipulators. You ain't wrong there, Kathy. I've been catching myself doing this since beginning of. Listen, Kathy, we're pretty good manipulators. Not gonna lie. Well, it's not even something I'm proud to admit, but we're pretty dang good at it, And it's all because we're trying to get those needs met. It's not like it's malicious or anything, but any type of communication from them is like good communication. It's whether it's negative, whether it's positive, at least they're talking to us. And it's just like that. If you think about back in adolescence, that parent that won't give you any attention, that parent that is just completely ignoring you, and they may be tending to the other kid, they may just completely just shutting you out. You may come up and turn the TV off, or you may push the lamp off the counter. At least you may get yelled at, and they may get annoyed, but at least you're getting attention. This is why when people protest, like they'll call 100 times, or they'll show up at the person's house, or they'll fake like, oh, my uncle got injured. Can you call me so we could talk about it? It's all survival, like you said, all survival skills. It's been too much no contact. I wonder if he will reach back out. If you've come 2 months, keep going. Keep going. Good for you for not breaking no contact. What is likely to be your attachment style if you thought of having a relationship stresses you out, and you worry that it's going to be more unenjoyable than enjoyable, yet you still battle? That's probably an avoidant. Yep, I would take the test. But I'm assuming that you're probably an avoidant, or leaning towards avoidant. Coach, she did all that type of stuff. Yeah. Manipulation. How does a DA feel when you ignore them? Relief, if I'm being honest. Relief. I blocked him for one day and he was more attentive the next day. Yeah, relief. They feel like, all right, now I got silence. I can just numb out, tend to my escapism, whether it's watching shows or gaming or tending to my kids more or working more. They kind of repress it. Not kind of, they do repress it. Isn't no contact heavenly or rewarding to a DA? Silent paradise. It is until they start to think about you again. Start to drive past the restaurant that they remembered you of, and the song comes on that they remember you of. Which is why most avoidants, when they go through a breakup, they completely rid their house and their stuff of you. They get rid of pictures. They'll take all that stuff down. So they don't have to see you or have that visual reminder of the relationship that you had. Is there a time limit on no contact, or after a year there's zero chance? After a year, that ship most likely has sailed, because just because they repress their feelings and they don't reach out to you, that doesn't mean that they become completely relationship avoidant. They'll have somebody else reach out. They'll go out and do their thing. Let's not forget, they do need human connection in relationships. They crave it. It's just that they feel like they're bad at it. If you are fearful, avoidant, or anxious, read The Untethered Soul by Michael Slinger. Ooh, that sounds like a good one. I'm gonna write that one down. I was talking to a client today, and I was saying, what it amounts to is, if you're an anxious attacher, you're most likely, it's like another name for a codependent. When you said untethered soul, it's like a codependent, which is why when a lot of anxious attachers go through a breakup and they no longer get that communication and that release of dopamine from the person that they love, they turn to vices. They may turn to alcohol or drugs, or become promiscuous, or heavily lean on other things to try to fill that void. When I was working in the recovery center, that was typically, the vices. There's always a cross addiction. You always have at least two things that are going to addict you. Some people are addicted to video games and girlfriends. Other people might be alcohol and gambling. There's always an addiction that's going to cross over. So my ex stonewalled me for 7 months after the breakup. There was no need for no contact. Then one night we were working together over Christmas, and he walked in and asked me to go for a break with him. Yeah, he's stoned. He really shut that thing down for a long time. I'm reading The Truth by Neil Strauss. He's a DA addict. It's an awesome read. True story too. All right. What's his name? Neil Strauss. All right, I got that. Y'all giving me some homework here. I appreciate that. Good point. Yep, I'm going through addiction now. Yeah. It's it's tough. I'm with you. I sit in your pain there, ma'am. Not of the stonewalling, but the vacation. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I appreciate you guys being here for this hour. 40 people online. I think this is the max I've ever had on my live session. 40 people. You guys should all be giving me a thumbs up. I'm going to, if you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website, www.fruitfulseeds.com. Check out my book, $5 on Amazon. That link is in the description below. This is my story, how I started life coaching, relationship coaching. If you haven't joined my membership program, it is 60-70% off of the cost of a regular coaching session. It's $25 a month. You just join right through YouTube and you set your appointment up with me, and we have one-on-one coaching sessions every single month for as long as you are a member. For everybody else, thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in me and the words that I speak. Thank you for giving me life, even when sometimes I felt like I didn't have a purpose. But you guys have given me that purpose. Love you guys. Namaste.